Coming up today on New Things, New Tech. Does your internet speed suck? Thinking of cutting the cord? All this and more on New Things, New Tech.
Welcome to New Things, New Tech. I'm Nick Drudge.
And I'm Scott Drudge. Are you tired of constantly having to call your internet provider to complain about slow speeds? First thing they ask you is, have you tried turning it off and on again? Then they run you through tests that sound something like, all is good on our end, it must be something wrong on your end. So say you have a really good router that you picked up at your favorite store. It sits between your cable modem and your house. You pay your cable company for a whopping 50 plus megabits access. Yet whenever you run a speed test, you get something like 6 megabits. What the fudge is going on here? I mean, what's going on?
So, did you try turning it off and on again like the tech asked you to do?
Oh yeah, sure, of course. I know what I'm doing most of the time. Of course, it didn't solve the issue, so.
What about just trying to hook up one computer to the cable modem?
Yeah, I tried that and it seemed to work for a bit. But running a speed test showed us that we were getting near or better than what we were paying for.
So problem solved, right?
Yeah, not really. But the tech was like, your equipment is working fine. So the tech was done with me. But the problem came back after adding our router back in and starting to add in other devices. And then it was like ding, ding, ding. It dawned on me that either the router or another device on the network was hogging our internet. Our internet speed should be around 250 megabits per second. But yet when our Belkin 4-port router was plugged in with all of our other devices hooked up, we'd see the speeds drop to less than 6 megabits. Not at first. If one or two computers were hooked up, we'd see some good speeds around 200 megabits. Start adding in devices and bam, slowed down dramatically. At first we thought it was just one of the computers had a virus or something hogging the network. Our routers are fairly new, bought from Amazon and Best Buy at different times and rated pretty well. In fact, we have 3 different hooked up around the house that we could play with to test out our problem. We also have a couple of 24-port switches, some 8 or so computers running at any moment, TVs, Blu-ray players, our phones, iPads, Chromecast devices, and miscellaneous other devices that want to talk to various motherships. The main router was acting only as the firewall and a funnel for all the other switches and Wi-Fi routers in our house, and was being overloaded. It simply just did not have enough hardware bandwidth to support all the devices. You think it would. I mean, it's a 1 gigabit router, more than fast enough for our internet. 1 computer, 1 gigabit, no problem. Even 2 is fine. Probably using all 4 ports of the switches on the back might be okay. So we decided to replace the router with a new one. Figured that a nice new one would do the trick. But that meant spending at least $100 to get something decent and no guarantee it would give us all of our speed back. But we already have 3 different routers to try. This newer one, a T-Link, ran into the same issue. A few devices, no problem. But then the other devices started talking and bringing the speeds down. So it seemed pretty clear that there was a good consumer router wasn't going to work with all their crap on the network. Plus these routers are only really good for a couple of years. As new models come out, the manufacturers stop supporting upgrades to the firmware. So Nick started doing a little research and found a better solution. Why not take an old computer like this, put a decent firewall software on it, and manage all the traffic to the internet through there? He found that the problem wasn't so much that the routers we were using, but it was the firewall part of the router having the issue.
Yeah, so I was getting pretty angry at the whole internet situation. I mean, what? We were getting like 20 megabits per second up and even less down? That's like 10%, no, not even 10% of the download speed we were paying for. Figured had to be throttling. It's always the ISPs, they say. Well, I was wrong. If you plug just one device right into the router, it's fine. And then you start plugging things back in and suddenly nothing. It wasn't a virus, it was just too many things at once. Think about it. Your router's great at moving lots of data around, but the problem is it isn't just moving a bunch of traffic. It's actually sitting there, figuring out where everyone wants to go, making sure what it is sending and receiving isn't a hacker, and watching all the other firewall rules that you might have set up or whatever. Now that's quite a bit for a tiny computer to handle. A tiny computer from like 2008 or something. Well, we already said that buying a new router is expensive, but I did just say that a router is a tiny computer. What if we used a bigger computer, like an old desktop? You might have one, or a friend might have one. You can also watch our laptop as a server, video for some other options, but you probably won't be able to use a laptop as described there. So then all you really need is a drive that works and a couple more Ethernet ports. You can find cards online for $10 or less that do that, and then you can either use your router as a switch or buy a dedicated switch. This just allows you to plug more things into the network without really slowing things down. And then you need some software. Oh, software. Gotta spend $100 for a license we can use just once, just what we want. pfSense, if I had any sense, I'd say it cost at least free. It's free. No catch, I'm on board. So install this any which way, follow our guide here, and you're off to the races. More amusingly, you never have to restart the thing once it's working. You just don't. We haven't restarted it in the 2 months that we've been testing. Now mind you, when you get an update, you may have to update and restart it, but this is very rare. Much better. Seriously, it is so refreshing to be able to make changes to your router and not have to restart to apply. If you've ever messed with a wireless router, you know my pain. The speeds are tremendous. Everything we're paying for, we're getting. Probably have a bigger load on it than ever. It's great. Plus, you can do all kinds of extra things with plugins, built-in ad blocking, security analyzers, and not to mention all of the blocking and traffic shaping tools. For any buzzkills, you can use blocking tools as parental control features. If you have a download limit, and we're so sorry if you do, there is so much you can do to make your browsing use less bandwidth. Or maybe your connection is slow. You can cache or save a local copy for faster access later of places you visit often, automatically with a cool plugin. Oh, and of course, it can do real-time virus scanning if you just aren't the best at using the web. It set off false positives, so I knew it was working. Seriously, these tools cost companies thousands of dollars a year, and you can make it for almost free if you have the parts. I recommend you follow the guide and make your own. Even if you're just doing it for fun, how many people can say they've built their own router?
So if your internet is top-notch, are you ready to cut the cord? No, that doesn't mean ditching your cable internet, but getting rid of all of that useless paid TV you pay for from your cable company or satellite provider. We cut the cord over 10 years ago. Why? Because cable TV and satellite TV just sucks. Actually, cable and TV and satellite TV just didn't offer enough of the programs we wanted to see when we wanted to see them. Sure, you can DVR a lot of programming now, but you're still paying for all those channels you just don't need. So with a little research, we found that by choosing program services and streaming services we wanted, it would be far cheaper than waiting for our next episode of our favorite show on our cables. With services like Hulu, Amazon Prime, Netflix, YouTubes, and hundreds of others, we can watch as much as we want and when we want. Catching up on our old programs is no problem either. There's plenty of free, nearly free, or low-cost services out there to keep one's viewing habits happy. Getting creative, you can find just about anything you want to see for far less than what you would pay your current provider. A lot of the major cable TV channels put up older, full shows to watch over your computer or through their apps. Some will even let you subscribe, and then you can binge watch your favorite programs. Many programs end up on Hulu, Netflix, or other streaming services a few days after they broadcast. It's good for us because typically we're never around to watch a show at the broadcast time anyway. Add an HD antenna to your TV and you can get your local TV channels with news, weather, sports, and more for free. A big plus is you'll also get the emergency broadcast. Another cool thing you can do is add something like this Tablo DVR and record all the broadcast shows that you want. They get stored on the external drive and you can watch them when you want, skip commercials, and keep them if you need to. The Tablo is kind of cool and weird at the same time, but it's simple. Bring up a TV schedule, click what you want to see, and you're good to go. Nick has a segment about this Tablo that he picked up at a Goodwill store for like somewhere around $5. So check it out if you get a chance. Many smart TVs like our Samsung TV have lots of streaming services built in, so if we want, we can get programs directly on the TV. So does our Blu-ray player for that matter. Add a Chromecast Ultra, like we use, to your TV and you can stream from any computer, smartphone, or tablet. This Ultra was $69 and hooks up to the TV and can either accept wireless or wired internet. Or add another TV streaming device like a Fire TV stick, a Roku, Slingbox, or Apple TV. Hook up a computer or laptop to your TV and watch lots of programs that way. One thing that we found with the Chromecast is that the video and audio quality was better than what we got with the computer hooked up. Probably just because the graphic card in the computer we were using was kind of outdated. One advantage of using a computer on your TV is you can use an ad blocker in many cases and block those annoying ads. But the problem is that more and more channels are getting wise to that and will block the streaming if you have your ad blocker on. So you're going to end up having to watch some commercial spots with your streaming show or know some crafty ways to get around that. If nothing else, it's a good time for a pee break, a quickie, whatever you can do during the commercials. Most streaming services will tell you how long you have before your program resumes. We usually mute the spots anyway and play some music or something while we wait. And then the audio on them is almost always louder than the program, so that's another reason to mute them. But we're okay with the programming play their ads to make their money for their programs, or paying for services that are ad-free like Amazon Prime, Netflix, and Hulu. Hulu, for example, is driving more cord cutters than Netflix or Amazon, according to online news. Hulu doesn't have as much original content as Netflix and Amazon, but it's growing. Hulu offers different plan levels like most services. The biggest advantage that Hulu has over Netflix, for example, is Hulu has more new TV episodes available either same day or within a couple of days of when the show was broadcast from several major networks. And you can go back and watch all the previous shows of a show. Netflix and Amazon Prime have more original programming, movies both original and archived, and many TV shows. But their TV shows are typically a season or so behind than when the show originally broadcasts. Still, if you don't mind waiting to see a show, then it's also well worth the money. Many of these streaming services can be tried before you buy. Try one out and see if they are really good options for you to cut the cord. Need sports? Channels like ESPN have live TV streaming over the net or through paid services, as well as other major league sports from around the world can be found. If you want to learn more about streaming services, cutting the cord, or anything else, send us a note and we'll create more programming. Or check out our articles being created up on drudge.tv/cord-cutters.
Well, that's it for this episode. Thank you for watching New Things, New Tech. I'm Nick Drudge.
And I'm Scott Drudge.
Subscribe and let us know what you think. Check out our other New Things, New Tech shows and our other shows.
For more information, the topics in this video, visit our blogs and articles on drudge.tv.